Yeah, crack your fingers.
Ew! Ow, that hurts. Okay. So, the Great Molasses Flood. It's also known as Great Molasses Spill. That's what I learned it as. Some people call it the Great Boston Flood. My personal favorite that I learned very recently is the Boston Molassacre. But it's 1919, and the big focal point in the North End is it's the United States Industrial Alcohol Plant. And the drum that they have was built in 1915, which is a year after World War I started, because of the need for industrial alcohol. So this drum that they had, they would bring molasses from the Caribbean, and they'd fill it up, and then they'd synthesize the molasses into industrial alcohol that they would use for dynamite and other explosives, which they needed in the war. The job was rushed, obviously, because it was something that they could cash in on quickly, and they didn't know how long the war would last. And it held 2.5 million gallons of liquid. The same year that this had exploded, there was somebody that was recalking the inside of it, and they said that it wasn't sound, that there was something wrong with it, and they didn't care. For what it was holding and how much it was holding, the steel should have been a lot thicker. It was really, really thin, actually. The steel was brittle under 59 degrees Fahrenheit. This is Boston. It's January. They have all 4 seasons. So January 15th, 1919, when this had exploded, it was 40 degrees outside. Some people said it was a hiss. Some people said they heard a bang. But around 12:40 in the afternoon, the molasses came rushing out. And we're talking 2.3 million gallons of molasses. They had just barely filled it to the top. It's like a tsunami. It immediately levels buildings. It levels people. It says like a 15-foot wall of molasses at 35 miles an hour. Boston was in really bad shape after this, basically. And the colder molasses gets, the more like thick it gets. And so these people that were stuck in the molasses would sink in, and they would like die. And the longer it took for these search and rescues, the more people were dying. The rescue and recovery took days, and after like the first day, because people were drowning in it, it was more of a recovery mission than anything. Yeah, it was bad. So there were 119 lawsuits that were filed against the Industrial Alcohol Company. And their rebuttal was that it was clearly sabotage, because there were Italians in the area. And at this time, there had been bombings that were created by Italian anarchist groups, and they said that this was clearly one of them, and their evidence was a call that they'd gotten in 1918 from somebody saying that he was going to put dynamite in the drum and make it explode. The case took 5 years to get through, and the closing statements itself took 11 weeks. And it ended up being the USIA's fault. They said that it was poor planning. They were charged $628,000, which is roughly $8 million today. It doesn't get spoken about a lot, but I think it's kind of cool. I mean, obviously it's not that cool because people died, but I think it's neat. I think it's neat.